So I thought I would do an improv update on a couple things that are coming up energetically for me and some spiritual experiences that I've been having as of recent. If you do follow me on TikTok or another platform, you may have heard some of these things, but I'm going to give a little bit more detail here about some energies or insights I'm getting from my higher self and from my spirit team. So, some of this is related to kind of what is happening in the world right now, particularly with the United States, and kind of the energetics to pay attention to as we're moving through a major shift here on Earth. I also am hoping to tap into the wisdom keepers during this episode to get some information from them as well. And I also want to remind you that I do a monthly live channeling with the Wisdom Keepers. So if you want to come ask questions directly, just join my membership. The link is below. It's only $25 a month, and you get to come talk to the Wisdom Keepers. And then we have a supportive group that meets once a month as well for those who are on the path of ascension or spiritual awakening or healing, whatever it is that you are needing support in. So come join us and stay tuned for whatever's about to happen in this episode. Welcome to the Soul Alignment Mentor Podcast. I'm your host, Angie, and I'm inviting you to explore the depths of self-sabotage, limiting mindsets, and the beliefs that hinder our progress in life. Through intuitive messages I receive from my spirit team, I share profound insights to help you live authentically and break free from these limitations. Join me now as we uncover all the keys to living your best life. Welcome. For those of you that are just now finding me, my name's Angie. I am an intuitive psychic medium and a spirit channel who channels a group who call themselves the Wisdom Keepers. And before I dive into this episode, I want to share a little bit about how I got in contact with the Wisdom Keepers and what kind of their role is with humanity and the ascension and what is going on within the entire universe, and also how the Wisdom Keepers have kind of guided me into this next realm of understanding that has recently came up for me. So the very first thing that I want to say is that I believe we all can do this. I believe that we all have the ability to tap into higher consciousness, to channel, to have psychic abilities, to connect with spirits on the other side. And one of the ways that my spirit team often helps me to understand the connection that we can have with the spirit realm is that they are literally just in the room next door. So when you think about having somebody in the room next to you in your home and you hear them talking in that room, what do you have to do to hear them? You have to get quiet. You might have to put your ear up against a wall. You might have to become still and still your breath and calm your mind and kind of come into this place where you're able to tune in to the room next door to you. That's the same thing with connecting with the spirit realm. You calm your ego, you calm down the barriers that we have here on earth with our physical senses, and we tap into our intuitive senses, which is our energy, which is our natural ability within our consciousness and soul. We are all beings of light that have come here to be human. And so this ability is something everybody can tap into as long as you take the time to teach yourself how to calm the energy in which keeps us from connecting. And many of us were taught in our early childhood how to disconnect from our intuition because we were taught how to be human. And that's not a bad thing that we came into earth and we learned how to be a human. That's why we came here, to have the experience of being a human, but we came here to learn from the experience of being a human. And we're not necessarily meant to be stuck in the ego mind of that human part of us. If we are able to move out of that logical thinking into the creative mind, into the energetic mind, it expands our own energetic field and an aura in which we hold for ourselves, which opens us up to the spirits around us, to the non physical realm. And the more that opens up, the more that expands for us, the more we can tap into higher frequencies and messages. And for myself, I spent many years meditating for hours, um, and seeking guidance and wisdom from my own spirit team. And when I met my spirit team, it changed my life. I was able to kind of visually see their energy, but they never showed up to me as a form. They never showed up as like a human or a being. They showed up as an energetic being. So I only saw the energy of who they were for many years. And just recently have I been able to tap into to the way they want to present themselves in a physical way. Now, the interesting thing about our spirit guides and our spirit teams is that none of them are physical. Even if we were to tap into the energies of extraterrestrials or beings from other planets, even they are not physical. They have what might appear to be a physical body, but they're very much more translucent and energetic. And this is why they can shift and move through different dimensions, unlike we humans can. We can through our mind, we can through our energy, but physically, we are unable to tap or leave this human body until we are done having the human experience. And so when when you start to open up these energies and tap into higher dimensional thinking or consciousness or beings, what is really happening is we're tapping into our true self, our higher self, and then in that higher self, expanding our consciousness and awareness to connect with everything that we are already connected with. So it's just like we're living in the same house as all these energies that we're connecting with. We just have to get quiet because they're in the room next to us. They're right next door. They're right beyond the wall of the physical realm that we tap into and we can physically see and sense. But to get to that, we have to overcome our own barriers of believing that wall is going to keep us from getting the message that's coming to us. And so for myself, at some point in my life, I did shut down my abilities and my gifts. Mostly, I think it was because I ended up in religion for quite a while and became fearful of them. And when I'd ask questions or I'd seek answers about things I would hear, see, or experience, the church kind of put fear in me about it. And so I've had to overcome a lot of fear in order to open up some of these gifts that we all have. I've always seen shadow figures. I've always seen spirits. I've heard things. I've experienced some really intense, crazy things throughout my entire life. I have had connections with extraterrestrials since I was little. I've always been kind of obsessed with aliens. I've had um, kind of a understanding of the angel realm. I've always been a spiritual person and being, but within the last particularly 9 years, where I know for sure I had a really intense spiritual awakening, those things became more evident to me because I started working on connecting with the energy of it. And that is kind of what led me to where I am now, where I'm able to channel the wisdom keepers. And the way I met the wisdom keepers was a couple years ago. I would say probably 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, maybe. I was in my bed sleeping at night and suddenly woken. And this happens, you may have experienced this yourself, where spirit has a message for you. So you wake up and it might be 222 or 333 or whatever in the morning. And so I remember I woke up in the middle of the night and I suddenly saw an apparition of a spirit walking beside my bed, and it was a beautiful woman. I saw the back of the spirit. The back of the spirit, she had a very long dark blue cloak on with the hood over her head, and on the cloak was lighter blue flower. So it was all blue, just had different colors of blue within it. And as she walked out of my room, she walked towards the door of my room and she began to walk out of the room. She turned around and she looked at me and she just said, Annabelle. And that is when things really started to shift for me. And of course, I was a little alarmed, like, what just happened? What did I just see? And I now understand that Annabelle is one of my spirit guides. And so Annabelle came in that way to help prepare me to get to know the wisdom keepers. And what happened is I started working with Annabelle and I suddenly started having this urge to channel. And I am a trans channel, so I kind of just shut my mind off, shut my ego off, and I let spirit speak through me and use my energy and mind to translate messages to humanity. And so I started with channeling Annabelle, which I had to learn how to integrate that energy through me in order to get those messages out clearly. And as I was working with Annabelle, there was a day that I suddenly felt um a frequency shift in my channeling and I was unsure what was happening. I just knew it felt different. I knew it didn't feel like what I had been tapping into with Annabelle. And then I heard a message come through that, I asked, what is this new energy? I heard a message come through that says, we are the whispers in the wind. We are the wisdom keepers. And that is when I was introduced to the Wisdom Keepers. And suddenly I started channeling for myself with the Wisdom Keepers. They started giving me messages about my mission here on earth, what I'm here to do. And then I started feeling the urge to start channeling for other people. So that's why I started the monthly membership for you to come and talk with the Wisdom Keepers, ask questions. Now, as I've gotten to know the Wisdom Keepers over the last couple of years, they have introduced themselves to me slowly. Uh, they have explained themselves to me as a 12th dimensional spirit team. They are made of 12 different frequencies and energies and beings. I do know that Jesus is a part of the Wisdom Keepers. I do know that there is what I would say Mother Mary or Anna, the grandmother of Jesus, is a part of the Wisdom Keepers. I do know there's some Octarians that are a part of the Wisdom Keepers. I recently have discovered there's a Pleiadian on the Wisdom Keepers. There are archangels with the Wisdom Keepers. And so as you can see, like, the Wisdom Keepers are made up of many different beings, not just one. And so when I'm channeling these beings, some of the messages, depending on the answer, can come through one or many of their frequencies. And so I find it interesting when I'm tapping in, I can feel the difference between the message based on the frequency that I'm connecting with. So if I'm connecting with Jesus, then the message often comes through as like a parable or a lesson. If I'm connecting with one of the Octarians, it comes through as like kind of a energy of what you would consider an alien message. With the angels is very loving and bright and expansive energy. And the thing is these are all one energy. They just represent each other in different frequencies. So it's not that they're separate. They're just, it would be like the notes of a song. They all play a certain role within that frequency of the wisdom keepers of this council of 12 that they are connected with. And what they have described to me is that they come from different parts of the energetic universe and that they hold frequencies based on that part of the energy that they are from. And they come back into this space in the ethers where they meet and communicate about the wisdom of the universe and what is happening within the universe. And so recently, as I have gotten to know them a little bit more, they have kind of helped guide me into understanding what is happening on earth and what to expect. And I find it really interesting since Jesus is a part of the Wisdom Keepers. Some of the things that they are speaking to me can be referenced even in the biblical text. and things that we may have learned in religion, but religion had caused it to come out in a fearful way or in a controlling way, which is not the original message that Jesus had wanted to share with us. And so when I tap into these messages, they can come with like biblical references. Now, recently, I've had a couple other experiences, and I may have shared this on TikTok or here on some of my other episodes. I recently had connection with Archangel Gabriel, who came through and was basically describing to me being a messenger for humanity as we go through this shift, but also just reminding us all that we're safe and that we're okay and that we'll make it through this. Another thing that I recently saw was the dragons and the angels being released to come help humanity, and that is still taking place. So I know that maybe things in our world, in the physical realm, don't appear to be too positive, especially here in the United States. But on an energetic level, on a spiritual level, things are being placed into a specific timeline for things to move forward. And that is why more and more people are awakening or healing or coming into a different conscious understanding of who they are. And so, if you're going through a spiritual awakening, if you're learning a little bit more about spirituality or who you are as a spiritual being, that is on purpose. That is what the ascension is about. It's about expanding our consciousness into a 5D energy, which is more connected with unity and love. So those energies and visions and insights have recently came to me. And then just within the last week, I had another experience where a new spirit came to me in a meditation. And this was the most clear I've ever seen a spirit come through, which was so amazing to me because I'm not someone that has been able to physically see spirits. I do know people that that is kind of how they work with their spirit team. I have not been somebody. I just work with the energy. And so if you're having a hard time physically seeing the image of your spirit team or your guides, there's nothing wrong with you. It just means that they're not presenting themselves to you that way, and that maybe you're not supposed to have a physical way to connect with them because they're not physical. But this being that came through was a woman, and I will drop a picture here of what she looked like. And she was so magical and beautiful. She was had very long white hair, a white dress. She had a staff in her hand. She was glowing and sparkling and just energetically powerful and beautiful. And I was just overwhelmed with her beauty. And when she came to me, she told me that her name was Isabel. And when Isabel came through, I was a little confused. I was like, "So who are you and where you come from?" And she has confirmed to me that she does work with the Pleiadians and that she is here to help assist me into connecting with an even higher dimensional team, which I had heard was going to happen, but was not sure when or how it would take place. And so, as I'm talking to Isabel, I was like, "Wait, what happened to Annabelle?" And then Annabelle showed up beside Isabel, and they explained that they were both my guides here to support me on Earth, and that Annabelle had represented for me a ability to tap into a certain frequency, and then Isabel is here to teach me how to tap into a new frequency. And when they explained this to me, they suddenly took me into the 14th dimension, and as I went into the 14th dimension, I began to see a very large circle of beings. At first, they presented themselves as just energy. And then as I tuned in and looked a little closer, they did have somewhat of a human look to them. But they were all very synchronized. They all had like white on and crowns, and when I looked closer, they were in a circle, and every other one of these beings was a male, female, male, female, male, female, male, female. And then I noticed there was 24 of them. And I in my spirit in this meditation went to go meet with this group of 24, and they explained to me that they were the 24 elders, and that they were residing in the 14th dimension at this time, and that their purpose and job with basically the universe, or with source energy, and in particularly with humanity, was to keep order, that they were overseeing the organization of the expansion of the universe. So source energy is a creator. We are creators, we are manifestors. Source energy's desire is to create more of itself, and that's what is happening on every moment and second of time. There's more and more energy being created out of source energy. So there's more beings being created, there's more souls being created, there's more energy being created. Everything is expanding constantly, and that's why we are expanding and growing as well. Now, we're on a different frequency, we're on a very slow frequency. So that's why to us it appears to be very difficult and slow as humans, but we are a part of that expansion of the universe. And in many ways, we play a big role in that because we do play such a dense energy. And I've said this in other videos before, but if you think about a battery, the positive and negative side are both needed for the expansion and the connection of energy between. And so, if you had two positive ends of a battery, you wouldn't have power in between it. So, the negative and positive play a role. And so, in many ways, we spirits chose to come and be a human to play that role of the negative, and to bring the contrast of the universe through that experience that we're getting to have here while we're an earthling, basically. And so all the other beings and extraterrestrials and energies throughout the universe are also playing parts. They're playing their energy to help with the expansion. And so everything works together, everything is organized, and everything is very particularly put together. And the order is being governed basically by the elders, by these 24 elders. And they came through specifically to help me understand that even though things might appear to not be super great right now for the world, the earth, that things have been set into place to keep order, to make sure that things are expanding in the way that they are meant to through the intentions of source energy. And so the 24 elders um, work with also the wisdom keepers and many other beings throughout the universe. And so the wisdom keepers kind of report to the elders, like what is happening and what's going on, and how are things going on Earth? How are things going with humanity? How are things going in that planetary system of the where the Pleiadians are, or Octarius, or whatever these different systems are throughout the universe. Like they come together, they report, and then the elders oversee that organization of what is happening throughout the entire dimensional being of source energy. It's much like how we as humans, like it's so intriguing to think about the organization and the intelligence of God, and how we, and down to our DNA, down to our physical body, to the way that our body works, is very intelligently made and somewhat a replicable thing of how source works. And that's why we as humans have a left and right side of the brain, because our left side helps us to work with the energy of being a human, to have logic, to have understanding of how to be a human. And then our right side keeps us connected with the energy of who we are, which is our consciousness, which is our higher self, which is the energy of our body, our chakras. And so as we expand in our higher self, in our consciousness, and awaken more, we are becoming less and less ruled and ran by the logical mind, by the left side of our brain, and tapping more into the right side of the brain. And it doesn't mean that we don't need both. It doesn't mean that we completely let logic go. It means that we balance this out because of the yin and yang, the light and darkness, the positive and negative of the battery. And so for source energy, that is basically how this works. You could describe these 24 elders as being the left brain of the universe, the logical, organized part of the brain of God. And then the wisdom keepers come in as the right side of the brain, who go out and work with the energies and telepathically communicate with each other and with me and with humanity and with the earth and with different planet systems and star systems. So they are energetically connected when the 24 elders are more of the organized balancing of that to oversee that. And so as these 24 elders were explaining some of this stuff to me and who they are, they did assure me that we are on the right timeline for the awakening and expansion and the ascension into 5D. Even now, as I'm kind of tapping in, so one of the things my clients always make fun of me of is when I start to hear messages, I kind of look up to the right. So if you see me doing that in my videos, it means I'm kind of listening to them as I'm like trying to logically think to you. So I'm tapping into both my left and right side of the brain as I am communicating and trying to get messages to you. But as I'm even like listening now into the frequencies coming through, I'm hearing a message particularly about something shifting in the next 5 years. I'm hearing 5 years there will be a major shift within the earthly realm, within humanity. Almost they're basically telling me almost 90% of humanity will be awakened by let me see if they can tell me any more details about this. By 2029, 90% of humanity will be awakened and tapped into their consciousness in a new way. Some of them will, of course, be younger in their awakening, and some of us that have been in awakening will be helping to guide them through that. But this is going to start speeding up in the next couple years. And the energies that are happening around Earth are like, even with Gaia and the energy of the Earth expanding and awakening, with a Schumann's resonance vibration, that is impacting the human body and the energies of the body as well. Because what is happening is, so our DNA, like I said, everything is a reflection of God. So even down to our molecules, our cells, our DNA, everything is an energetic connection within ourselves. That's how our body works. It energetically connects with each other within the body. And so when there's energy off, we feel that. We feel pain, we feel discomfort. And then that pain and discomfort and that energy, if not dealt with, will manifest into sickness or into trials or beliefs in our life. And so it always starts out with an energy to kind of guide us or teach us something, and then if we don't learn from that, it amplifies. But I am hearing that we are moving into that higher consciousness, and we will see a major shift within the next 5 to 6 years. And I'm trying to ask a little bit more about what might be happening more like currently. They're reminding me that one of the visions they did give me regarding the current administration of the United States is the basically the way they're describing this to me is a destruction from the inside out. And the vision they gave me the other day was they showed me our president, and they zoomed into his pant leg, to the outside of his pant leg, and they took me very close to the seam of his pants. And they showed me one of the seams being pulled, and that pull, when you start have a seam being pulled, then it rips the pants eventually, but it's starting slowly to pull. And what they said was that he is going to be exposing his own corruption. He's going to expose his own self as far as who he really is, and that this is going to eventually take place. Let me see if there's a timing of what they want to share as far as like, I mean, they're basically saying this is a part of what is currently happening right now. We all know that there were some text messages released within this last week. Let me see if there's anything else as far as like exposure or things being shared coming through. 6 months, 6 months. They just said 6 months. Um, And I will say I don't know 400% sure because I am just trying to interpret messages here. And a lot of this does determine our own energy and how we are healing and expanding as a collective. But I have not seen him finishing his term. And so I don't know if that's because of health reasons or because of the corruption that is going to happen. They're also reminding me right now that any type of like war that we might go into will be short lived because you can't sustain something that you're not organized to do. You can't upkeep something that's not um, done in a intelligent way. I guess the only thing I could describe that. And so they do want to assure us that when things arise, that to not be scared or overwhelmed by that, because the most important thing for us to do is to stay grounded and to not be involved in the fear that is going to be taking place because of these things. So let me tune in to see if there's any more messages that they would like to share before we are done here. I do hear something coming through. So let me so here they're just going to speak through me here. It looks like so, humanity, we would like to help you and assist you with this transition that you are going through at the current time. We understand that it is unsettling and unpredictable and alarming in many ways. However, we want to give you the perspective from our consciousness and our higher perspective of the universal guidance and wisdom of all things, and that the order that has taken place in these times has been set forth many, many years ago and has been projected to move into this time period right now. You are on Earth at a very transformational time. You are on Earth at during a shift that is taking place, and we will be assisting with this, and we will help to assure that you are moving through this in a energetic way that you can handle. That is why many of you are going through different waves of awakening, through different waves of shifting in your body and your energy. This is why some of you might be feeling physical symptoms. This is why some of you might be going back and forth in some of your gifts, even, and back and forth in some of your beliefs. You are being challenged in all areas of your life to believe and trust and become more aware of your own energy so that you can be prepared to move through this energy in a uplifted, high vibrational way. So we want to encourage you to stay focused on your own frequency, your own vibration, your own ability to enhance and change the energy around you by staying in a positive place, by staying in an energy that is high frequency, and believing the best for yourself and for humanity around you. We want to assure you that we are here to support you, that we love you, we guide you, and we are always present around you. So please be aware that we are here to support you and we are here when you call upon us. Thank you, and we will return soon with another message. So there we go. So I think maybe that is probably all I had to share today. Again, come hang out with us in the Ascension membership. Come talk to the Wisdom Keepers yourself. And if you're looking for one on one support, I do have a couple openings right now for weekly mentorship. If you would like to do that, it's a 6 months membership where you meet with me one on one every week, and we go through healing and ascension and energy work and inner child healing, and I use all kind of different modalities and tools to help you align with your higher self. So if that's something you're looking for, reach out and we can start that journey together. Until we meet again, I wish you the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love. Namaste.